My eyes are red. Don't drink when you can't see.
Let's hope that this second story time is not as long as
Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Dior here, and I'm back with another video. As you guys can see, this is another story time. I thought we would switch it up just a little bit and add some beer along with our blunt. So yeah, now before I begin, I do want to say, if you are returning to my channel, please be sure to hit that subscribe button. I am getting views, but however, they are not coming from subscribers. So you like the content, you like me, you're back, you might as well hit that subscribe button and join the bougie gang. But let's go ahead and hop into it. So this is a story time, y'all, a smoke sesh slash sip. So right now, go ahead, get your blunts, go ahead and get your tea, go ahead and get your wine, get your shots, get whatever it is that you need. Hopefully it's not as long as the first smoke sesh story time that I did. That video was like 45 minutes. And I do have my blunt here. I'm gonna go ahead and light it. And this story time is about the time I got flued out. Basically, your girl was feeling like accomplished, like, yes. We're gonna call him M. Of course, you know, I don't usually say people's government names on my channel. Sure, how we became friends. I had him on as a friend on Facebook as well as Instagram. If you guys are not aware, I do private parties, and so in this case, he asked me to do a private party. I want to say maybe 2 months before this. I would say like a month later. He hit me up and he's like, "Oh hey," he's like, "Do you travel if I pay for the ticket?" And since, you know, he's gonna pay for the ticket and everything else is gonna be taken care of, like, why not? I wish I never did this, and it's just a learning lesson. So he hit me up and he's like, "Hey, how do you feel about flying out? Like, are you okay with that?" And I'm like, "Sure." I don't know, let me see. I think I had like something to take care of, but I was like after these dates or whatever. So I want to say we had planned it out for me to fly out on a Tuesday, and then I was supposed to go home on Thursday. My flight, I want to say on Tuesday, left kind of like afternoonish. So at first everything is fine. We make plans for me to fly out, and basically he's like, "You shouldn't have to worry about your carry-on, you shouldn't have to worry about your luggage, like, you know, yada yada yada, boom boom boom." And so I'm like, okay, cool. So the day comes, and mind you, one thing before I forget, I made a video previously. I didn't have my contacts in, and this was around that time. So when I traveled, I did not have any contact. I had ordered them, but it was gonna take a while. So already I'm like thinking in my head, like, how am I gonna see through the airport? Oh, I am leaving out details. Here's another thing I forgot to mention. So on my way to Phoenix, I still was trying to be extra, of course, because I'm a girl and I love my lashes. And I'm like, hey, since I'm blind doesn't mean I can't have any eyelashes, right? But I put eyelashes on and they're like dramatic like this. But when I went to my gate, like when I went to TSA, or like when you check in or whatever, like we have to put your bag and stuff on the little conveyor belt, this guy, because I didn't know where I was going, it's been a minute since I've been at an airport. So like now I feel like they have extra lines, so it's like you go here and then you can go here, versus before it was like you would give them the ticket and then just walk straight through. So the guy that would like scan, like, you know how you go to like a place and you cash your check, it's like one of those little round thingies that like checks the ticket. He's like, "Oh, you put it in there," and I'm like, "I can't see." And he thinks I'm playing, and he's like, "Oh." I'm like, "I can't see, I don't have my contacts in." And I do have a bad habit of talking very low. Like, I don't know what's wrong with me, I gotta work on it. So I don't think he heard the contacts part. Just wait for it. He has the nerve to say, "Is it because of your eyelashes?" And I'm like, in my mind, because I love a good joke. Like, I love a good joke. Like, who doesn't? But in my mind, I'm like, this would be funny if I could actually see. But I'm like, I can't see. And he's like, "Oh, you see me over here struggling, and you're trying to make a joke out of it." I was kind of able to maneuver. It was a little hard because, you know, I had to squint and stuff. I go to the airport and I can't see where I'm going. That's not his fault, but mind you, I'm blind. So this whole time while I'm traveling, technically I'm blind. I don't have my contacts, I don't have glasses. So I get on my flight, and I'll say this, before he booked the ticket, he did ask me, he's like, hey, is there a problem if you have a layover? And as I always say, beggars can't be choosers. So I wasn't gonna be like, don't give me a flight with a layover. I'm like, shoot, you're paying for the ticket. Like, if it want me to lay over in New York and then go to Hawaii and then go to Alaska and then go to Cali, then we're straight. We could do that too. You know, it is what it is. But I'm like, yeah, no, there's no issue. So originally, okay, I'm in Las Vegas, Nevada. If you guys are not aware, I'm going to Long Beach. So a flight to California, if you were to just take a plane there, is really no more than an hour. In this case, since I did have a layover, it did stretch it out. So I get on the plane and I have like a layover in Arizona. If plans went through, I would have gotten there a lot sooner or a lot earlier than the time that I did. When I got to Phoenix, I ended up having, I don't even want to say it was a layover. It wasn't that long of a wait. I don't even really know what time it boarded. I just was rushing through the freaking airport because, mind you, I cannot see. And I don't know why, now thinking about it, I didn't just check to look at my boarding ticket. So I finally get to my plane. Mind you, I almost missed it because I went too far. Got to my gate, I boarded the plane, and usually I want to say maybe it's 45 minutes before you officially take off, because of course everybody has to board the plane. They have to put all their stuff up top. I get on the plane and we're expected to leave, but it's going a little bit past that time. I've worked in customer service, and if you have worked in customer service, comment down below if you agree with me. But there are certain things that you say in certain times to kind of just keep everybody calm. They keep hopping on the intercom and they're like, oh, we're gonna take off in just a second, we have to put some fuel in the plane. And I'm like, my spidey senses are tingling. I'm like, okay, all right. So some time goes by and they're like, oh, there's something wrong with it, but we're gonna fix it. So mind you, by the second time that they come on the intercom, I want to say we maybe have been on the plane for an hour, maybe a little bit more. And then some more time goes on and the pilot's like, oh, we don't know what's going on, blah blah blah. And I'm like, by the second time, I was like, look, lady, you knew if the plane needed fuel, because how are you going to put people on a plane that doesn't have fuel? That sounds like something they would do ahead of time. Long story short, there was something wrong with the plane. So we've already been sitting on the plane for maybe an hour to 45 minutes. So this is cutting into our day that he had planned when I would get to California. So they tell us to get off of the plane. At this point in time, I'm trying to make sure that I know exactly what gate I'm going to, just because of the fact that I'm blind. Like, this is not the time to be getting lost in the in an airport and not being able to see. I don't know, I hate to, and it bothers me sometimes because I feel like since I've worked in customer service, I know that there's certain questions that I probably shouldn't ask because I probably know the answer. But me being the customer, or me being like the customer, or like the passenger, I feel like I really just gotta ask questions just to make sure, because I can't tell you how many times in my life where I have been completely off with some information. So I see like two other ladies at our gate and they're asking like, hey, when are we boarding? And I hear her say 10 minutes, but I'm like, hey, I think you just said it 10 minutes. Okay, cool. But we're just sitting there and they're saying it's like 10 minutes. I go into the overpriced airport store and I buy a sandwich, I buy some chips, and then I buy a drink. I didn't eat lunch or anything, so I needed to eat something, and my attitude was I was hangry. I need to take a sip. I don't know how to multitask and tell a story. Like, I feel like when I smoke with other people, that's when I can hold the blunt and I'm talking the most. But right now, I don't know why this is taking me so long to get through this story, because it's really not that long of a story. I get a sandwich, I get chips, I get a drink, and then I just go over in the sitting area and I sit down and I just eat, and you know, I wait to board. And I was so anxious. Like, usually when you board a plane, they have like the handicapped, and then they have mothers with kids and like elderly and so on and so forth. When I got on the plane, it was not as many people as the first plane. The lady that I was sitting next to, she was like, I could have just got a rental car and drove back. She was like, all this time, which is true. Like, it's sad to say it like that, but that's how long we waited. So we get on the plane, it's not as nearly as many people as the first one, so I just found that really funny. So then finally I get to LA. I'm home. I finally get to LA, and basically, thank God, like, it wasn't anything too difficult because I can't really see like that. And the people I just got off of the plane with, I asked them a question and they're like, oh, we don't know. And they're like, well, we hope you figure it out. And then I seen them in the same area, so I'm like, fucking just go do something. I go get my bag or whatever, and he said he didn't know this. M said he did not know this, but you had to know this. Like, you have a car, but your car is back in Las Vegas, so therefore you've been Ubering. But you knew that when I got to the airport that there was not going to be any Ubers right there to pick me up. So I can't see, and this LA is like, LA is so big. LA is large compared to Las Vegas. This is a big ass airport, and the section that I'm at, that's not even like probably a quarter of the fucking airport. So when you get to the airport, a lot of places they started changing rules. Like Ubers, they can't just necessarily pull up to, let's say, like the pickup area, like passenger pickup. They can get fined for that. So what they decided to do, they have a shuttle bus. I asked a worker that's coming out the bathroom, like, hey, where, like, how do I get to Uber? Like, where do they pick up? And he's like, oh, you have to get on the shuttle, ... And at this point in time, like, I'm not trying to be a brat, but like, if you're gonna do certain things, you have to have it planned out. He's like, oh, Uber's right there, like, just something stupid. And I'm like, so you mean to tell me you didn't know that Uber is a shuttle bus and all I have to do is hop on the bus? And I'm like, you knew that there was a shuttle bus, so there's a check off for that. It was cold. I don't want to say it was cold because it wasn't cold like that, but if you travel between California and Las Vegas, then you are aware that California is a little bit cooler. It's not cold to a point where you're like, oh my gosh, I'm cold, but me being in a desert and me being accustomed to the desert, California can be a little chilly for me at times. So I got on the shuttle. It was probably like a no more than 10-minute ride to like the little stop area for Uber. I get over there and then he has to call Uber. And right now, if you are aware, I don't think it would be different in any other city. I already was aware of Uber and how they are having issues. So I was just kind of irritated, like, oh, you should have already had it here waiting. So I had to wait for the Uber. For like 10 minutes. Finally, the Uber got there and I hop in the Uber and I head to the hotel. And then he comes out and he meets me. So I kind of found this out throughout like the couple of days I was there. He was kind of like undercover working for the company. He works in marketing, so I guess it would be undercover, saying like what needs to be fixed or whatever. And so when I get there, he had food for me, I'll give him that, but there is no microwave, so it's like I had to eat cold tacos. Then we kind of just like chill and have a couple drinks, like everything's cool. Like the first night I'm like, okay. And when I say don't ignore your intuition, I'm gonna tell you why. Sometimes I feel like I hold my standards maybe a little too high, but then I remember, no, I don't. You don't need to compromise for anything. So initially when I got to California, I was irritated because it's like, you wanted me to come, you should have told me these things, you should have had everything lined up. Like, why couldn't you do that? And then I'm like, then I get here and I have to have cold food. I tend to be a little harsh. So when I got to the room, I was like, you know what, you need to calm down and not be like that, because hey, look, like, it could be worse. So, you know, this night when I get here, we vibing, everything's cool or whatever. And he's all telling me, he's like, hey, I thought you were going to get into town sooner than this. He was like, our day that I had planned is kind of messed up. I guess he wanted to go to the beach with me or whatever. So I'm like, well, hey, we could go tomorrow. So we make plans to go to the beach tomorrow. And then I don't know what else he really had planned or whatever. So the next day, we wake up and we're like, okay, well, let's get ready to go to the beach. I get up and I start getting ready. I take my shower. I put like my bathing suit on for the day. He like hops up and he gets a phone call and he's like, it sounds urgent. Before this, he was saying that he was trying to call his mom and he wasn't able to call his mom. And he said that that wasn't like her. I'm like, okay, like, I was taught when a man is close to like his mom, and not in like a mama's boy way, but like you pay attention to how he treats the women in his life, his mother, his sisters, that says a lot about him. He's like, yo, he's like, I have to go. He's like, I just got a call from my cousin. He was like, he spoke to my aunt. Basically, my mom's in the hospital. She had allergic reaction. So he's like, I have to go. And of course, I'm like, that's your mom. I'm not about to be like, no, you need to stay here with me. I'm not gonna do that. Like, go take care of what you gotta do. Like, that's your mom. I understand it. Go do what you have to do. So he goes, and I'm texting him, and he's like, oh, everything's cool. And like, I don't really know what happens. It's a while though. He does not come back till later. So mind you, I'm in the room by myself from maybe like 10 to like maybe 6 or 7 something. Yeah, I'm in the room by myself this whole time. Oh my gosh, that scared the crap out of me. There was a bag that fell, y'all, because it's, oh my god. And I'm not really tripping. Like, that's your mom. I'm not ever gonna take her place. I'm not trying to take her place. But I'm like, okay, go do what you do. But I think I had texted him maybe around like 5, and I'm like, are you okay? And he doesn't really say anything. And then he comes in and he has food. And at this rate, I'm just kind of like, that's it? Like, you're not really gonna tell me anything? Like, what did you do all day? And of course, I'm not your girl, so I can't be like, yo, why didn't you text me? Like, what the fuck? Like, what type of shit is that? Why haven't I heard back from you? But at the same time, I'm like, I get it, but like, come on. And he's like, oh, he's like, I thought you would have like went out by yourself. I'm like, well, I can't really see. And 2, your mom's in the hospital. I don't really think that's cool for me to be posting the pictures outside while you have a certain situation going on. I was like, maybe if I have my contacts, you know. And so he's like, and mind you, this whole time he's like talking all this shit, like, oh, I'm looking for this, I'm looking for somebody that, you know, a life partner, and I adore black women, and just like, I'm not really like, I'm not saying people are full of shit, but people are full of shit. So I'm that type of person that, depending on a situation, you can boast, you can brag, but when like you keep trying to throw stuff out there, it makes me doubt you. Like, it makes me really doubt you. So he gets back and he brings food. So I'm like, okay, at least like, you know, that's cool or whatever. But then he's like, oh, I'm tired, I just kind of want to lay down, or like, I'm sorry, like, this trip was kind of messed up, like, we'll take another trip, like, I'm trying to take a trip in a month or something. I'm like, okay, well, at this point, I think we vibing. I'm like, okay, everything's cool, whatever. And I'm like, well, can we at least go for a walk or something? Like, let's go to the beach, like, let's do something. So we end up going down to the marina because I'm in Long Beach. So we go down there. But we go down there and we're chilling for a little while, and like, everything's cool. And me, I'm kind of like, this is a little boring, like this is a little cliche, like there's not really places open, and I'm not really picky, but I'm like kind of picky right now because I'm like, you wanted to brag so much, and there has to be more stuff that we could do. Like we could have still went for like a longer walk. So we go down to the marina, and we just kick it for a little while, and it was pretty. It was absolutely gorgeous. Like I would go back. Fun fact, I actually lived in Long Beach for a little while when I was a baby. After we're leaving the marina, he's like, hey, well, let's go get a bottle. So we go back to the room and we get our mask, because of course we have to wear a mask. And then we go head to Bonds, we pick up a bottle, and then we head back to the room. The next day I get up and we take a couple shots, and I pack up, I get ready to go, I get ready, and then he calls me an Uber. I get to the airport. Now mind you, when I flew in, I was on American Airlines. He sent me all the information I need, and he did tell me that after I get in the Uber, he was gonna go back to the hospital to check on his mom, which I completely understand. So I'm not really mad at it. I don't know why in my mind, and I think he said he was innocent, but like I don't know. When I first flew in, I was on American Airlines. When I got dropped off at the airport, because you can choose like the points that you need to be dropped off at, so there's different airlines. So there's Spirit, there's JetBlue. When I flew in, I was on American Airlines. This fool did not send me any confirmation. I should have asked him to send me that, but I was kind of like dazed out because my dumb ass had a couple of shots before I got in the actual car and did not really think to like get any information. So I get to the airport and I get dropped off at American Airlines. This time I'm on Spirit. He doesn't send me any information. I go over there, I hand them my ID, and they're like, you don't have a flight with us. So at this point, I'm like, bruh, like, is it this serious? Like, is it this serious to you? Like, why would you do this? Like, what is wrong with you? Like, why would you do this? And I'm like, it's not an issue. Like, I can get a plane flight out of here, but why would you do this? So come to find out, I'm at Spirit, thank God. But this whole time I'm sending him text messages, I'm trying to call him, he's not picking up. He's not sending me any text messages. Like, at this rate, I don't really know what's going on, but he's all like, he's not responding. I've tried calling him on Instagram. I've tried calling his phone. I've tried calling him on Messenger. Like, it's absolutely like, it's not working out. Like, he's not picking up. So thank God I was able to get on the flight. I didn't have to pay for my baggage, so that was cool. But I did block him, like, and he did pay me back for like my luggage. But it was just the simple fact that, like, I know you have stuff going on with your mom. As I said previously, I can't take her place. I don't want to. Like, it's not anything of that nature. But I just thought it was kind of just an asshole move just to, like, not pick up your phone. Like, I don't care if you don't like me, but, like, you could have at least told me that. So that alone was just like, I can't do it. And then actually, too, I'll say this. Toxic trait alert. I have a bad habit of where, like, I will take something that's not that serious and make it that serious, or like take it to an extreme, or like do something I don't have to do. So I basically posted up on his Facebook wall, like, call me ASAP. Mind you, he's on like a work trip, and after that, that's when like he blocked me, because I was like, fool, you're not picking up the phone. And I'm like, I don't know what else to do, since you think it's funny to share shit and not message me the fuck back. I posted on his wall. I was like, call me ASAP, and that's when he blocked me. So yeah, that was the story time about the time I got flued out. Never again will I allow some bullshit like that. Rookie mistake. Like, I thought I was cool. I was like, I'm getting flued out. Girl stayed in the room the whole time. Didn't even do anything. Didn't even really get to touch sand. It was like, he was all, oh, when we went to the marina, he was like, oh, you can go, like, walk down there. Like, I can't see. Like, what don't you get? Don't drink when you can't see. On the flight back, I did give me a bottle of wine because I was pissed off. That was a learning lesson. These are my lashes. Do you guys like them? So if you guys are not aware, I do have some new mink lashes. I don't think I have this style anymore. I think I ran out of this style. I believe this one is sold out. These lashes that I'm wearing are in the style 60, 15. This is what the packaging looks like. These are the lashes that I am wearing. I am gonna have my Poshmark shop link down below, so be sure to check that out. I am probably gonna do like a, I don't want to say bulk sale, but like a sale on multiple lashes because I want to get rid of those. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at coco.m.dior, as well as Dior_MUA. I want to thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this smoke and sip sesh, and y'all stay bougie.